Hello everyone. This is Brian with Zimco Survival, and this is the promised burn test of the Lixada gasifier stove. Now, for this particular video, I'm going to be using a lighter and some leaves to get it started, just because I don't want to take up a whole bunch of time trying to show you how to do it with a ferro rod. It is possible. I've done it. It's not particularly difficult, but for convenience, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use a lighter. So I've gone ahead, I've filled this up with leaves, and I'm going to go ahead and light it. If it'll light for me. It's kind of windy out here, so I'm not sure how well it'll work out. Alright, gotten it to start. I'm going to go ahead and keep building this up, and I'll be back as soon as I've got it ready. Alright, so I have it back to its operating temperature. As you can see, let me throw something in for you. As you can see, the smoke in the center is being sucked back down into the stove, and then it's fueling the jets around the outer ring. This is the gasification process. This is what allows the stove to burn so easily and so efficiently. There is a catch to it. The wood in the center isn't actually burning right away. What it's doing is it's turning it into charcoal, and then that charcoal gets lit by the other coals. This is where a lot of people believe that the stove has been snuffed, because as soon as that wood turns into charcoal, there are no more gases being released by the gasification process, which causes the outer ring to go out. The coals themselves are still burning, they're still hot. If I was to add more wood at that point, the gasification would start all over again until the gas was removed from the wood that I just added. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let this burn down so that I can show you what I mean. So I'll be right back. And we're back. Now that the gasification process has ended, this is where most people think that it's choked because of the ash at the bottom. So I've gone ahead and, just to kind of prove it, I've broken up a bunch of little twigs, and I'm going to add them back into the fire. And watch what happens as soon as I add them in. Once these sticks actually catch, like they're starting to right now, the gasification begins again. I didn't touch it, I didn't clear it, I didn't do anything to it. And as you can see, the gasification begins, the smoke is once again being sucked down into the stove, except for some over here, which is because I kind of used some wet wood. But once the gasification begins completely again, this smoke that's coming out now should dissipate as soon as the wood has dried off a little bit. And the reason wet wood will smoke like this is because of the water vapor. This is able to burn the actual fuel from the wood. As you can see, now that the wood is completely dry, it's not releasing any smoke, or very, very little. This will not burn water vapor, and that's what a lot of the smoke is coming off of that wood that comes out of this, is water vapor. I know a lot of people complain that it still produces smoke and it's not supposed to, but if you're using wood that has any water in it at all, it will produce a little bit of smoke until the water vapor is completely gone. At that point, it will stop producing smoke. So if you can find really dry wood, this stove will produce absolutely no smoke at any point. But as you can see, we once again have the gasification process full swing, and you've been sitting here watching me since I put it in to now. I haven't touched it. The stove is not choked. It's just the way gasifier stoves work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the video, and we're going to do a boil test, and that way you guys can get a pretty good idea of what kind of time you're going to be looking at with one of these stoves to boil. I believe I'll go ahead and do 20 ounces, 2.5 cups, just to give you a good idea of how long that's going to take. Enough for 2 people to have coffee or tea or whatever the case may be. So I think that's a good number. I'll be back as soon as I grab that, and we'll go ahead and finish up the burn test. Alright, we're back. I let it burn down once again, and I'm going to burn or boil 20 ounces of water in my Adventure cooking kit. Chose this one because I wanted to show you that it can hold a smaller pot. So for this instance, I'm not going to open these. I'm just going to leave them the way they are, and I'm going to put them right on top like this. Now, I'm going to just add some more twigs here. As you can see, it's starting up again. Heat coming off this thing is insane. Can't really leave my hand there too long. Yes, the wood is fairly wet. Not the best wood to use, but it's what I had. Let's go ahead and give this a kickstart. There we are. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put this on. There we are. And we'll be back when it boils. I'll let you guys know how long it takes. Be right back. There we are. As you can see, we have a nice rolling boil. I did have to add some more sticks about halfway through, as you can see. But according to my watch, it took 4 minutes and 23 seconds. So it wasn't too bad as far as getting the water up to this kind of a boil. That brings up the one downside with gasification stoves, and it's true across all of them. All gasification stoves are fairly wood hungry. They are going to require refueling every couple of minutes to keep the temperature up really nice and high. Now you can cook with just the coals formed by them, but because the temperature inside of this chamber gets so hot, it tends to burn through the coals pretty quickly. So you do need to add more fuel at relatively regular intervals. So That's the one downside with this. It's not a set it and forget it, load it up with fuel and then walk away kind of stove. It does require some maintenance. But as you can see, it can get really nice and hot and really get a very good rolling boil going. I personally love these types of stoves simply because of how compact they are, how easy to carry they are. This particular one packs down to 2.5 inches by about, I believe it's 5 inches. So it's not a particularly large stove, and it does fit in your pack pretty easily. You got a really good rolling boil going there. So let's go ahead and put the top back on that. So what we'll go ahead and do is, now that you've seen this and we've done our boil test, I'll go ahead and show you guys how to make it work with other types of fuels. I'm going to do solid fuel tablets, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how I use it with my alcohol stove. So go ahead, stay tuned, we'll be right back. Bye-bye. Hello everybody, I'm back. The stove is cooled down, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys first how to use it with an alcohol stove. Now, this right here, this is the one that I made. I actually put a video on how to make one of these on my channel, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't already seen it. Basically, what I do is I actually take the stove and I put it together exactly the same way that I would if I was starting it with a wood fire. Except one difference. Instead of pushing this internal plate all the way down for the combustion chamber, I push it so it's just a little bit above the outer ring here, like this. Then I put it in there, put the alcohol stove in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use 70% alcohol here, just to give you guys, not much, just to give you guys an example of how it works even if you don't have the best type of fuel. Now this will act like a windbreak for the alcohol stove and allow it to actually burn much more efficiently. Now I'm just going to start this with a match. These are also the UCO stormproof matches. I have a video on these as well. There we are. And it's lit. I know that you guys can't see it there, maybe a little bit now, but it's lit, it's starting to burn. I don't even wait for it to heat up, I just put the top on it. And now you let the stove heat up until the flames come out the sides. Now I find that these stoves tend to burn very, very efficiently, and they'll heat up much faster, and wind put inside of here. And I just use this as my pot stand and my windbreak for my alcohol stove. So as you can see, it's very, very efficient. Allows for me to use my alcohol stove even in not so great conditions. And if you look, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm starting to get some of the jets out already. So overall, I really, really like this stove. So we'll go ahead and we'll let that heat up, and I'll go ahead and show you how to use it with the solid fuel tablet. Now before I put this out, I just wanted to talk a little bit about something that I found when burning this type of fuel, or using an alcohol stove inside of one of these containers, inside of the Lixada gasifier stove. Now, I find that because it makes the stove burn so much more efficiently, it also makes it burn much, much hotter, because this outer container, being double walled, keeps the heat inside of this, well, bowl basically, and focuses it all directly at the bottom of your pot. So it makes the alcohol stove burn much, much, much hotter than it normally would if you just had it sitting on the ground. You don't have to use a penny stove with it. You can use pretty much any kind of stove. Alcohol stove, as long as it's small, it will fit inside of here. Even the bigger ones, if you were so inclined, just push the bottom a little bit farther down to fit it. And we've hit just about up to temperature. But overall, I love the fact that I can actually use this inside of this stove. And like I said, it burns very, very hot. Because of this, actually it's a little too hot for me to put my hands over it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and let this fuel burn out so I can pull the penny stove out. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do the tablet, solid fuel tablets. So I'll be right back. Hang on just a little bit. Hello everyone, it's cooled down once again. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to use these solid fuel tablets. Now, I have just some Colgan's brand solid fuel tablets, just to go ahead and show you how to use them. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your stove, take the combustion chamber off, you're going to push the centerpiece out just like this, flip it around so that this end here is going into the combustion chamber, and push it down until it sits down like this. Okay, that gives you a nice stand to put this on. Next, you're going to take your alcohol plate. Now this is for the solid fuel tablets. I'm going to put that right on top, just like this. Next, take your tablets. I'm just going to use one, put it in the middle. Take a match or a lighter, anything that has a decent enough burn time to start the fuel. I'm going to go ahead and use one of my matches again. There we are. And we're just going to start the fuel on. Alright. Don't know if you can see it, but the tablet is burning now. Then you just put the pot holder on like that. Just that simple. You can add more if you need to increase the heat or the burn time, whatever the case may be. But that is how you actually use this with solid fuel tablets. So now that we've done all the burn testing and I've done the actual first video, which is the review, this is part 2, I'm going to give you my final thoughts on it. And essentially I think that this is it should be a part of everybody's kit. A stove like this should be a part of everyone's kit because it gives you so many options. You can use wood, you can use alcohol. If you go ahead and just make one of these little alcohol stoves, it basically costs you nothing but 3 tin cans. So I highly recommend going ahead and watching my how to build an alcohol stove video, learning how to do this, and then just put this in the stove and you'll always have it with you. But as far as things go, with the number of options this stove gives you, the weight of it being about a pound, I really don't see any reason not to carry this with you. It packs down pretty small. Like I said, there's enough room in there that you could actually put this stove in. I do. And just carry one kit that gives you the option to burn all of the different fuels that you might come across. So my rating is a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love this stove. I purchased it for less than $20 on Amazon, and at that price you really can't beat it. So go ahead, do yourselves a favor, buy one for yourselves, play with it, test it, let me know what you think. Just overall, fantastic stove. But there you go, that's my review. As always, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much, and please have a great day. Bye-bye.